Water pressure for your home, water pressure for your lawn sprinkler system, water pressure for your drip line for your lawn sprinkler system. Question: what are the optimum or adequate pressures to run your system without having adverse effects or minimal adverse effects? It's difficult to get total adverse effects on pretty much anything that moves or water, mechanics, etc. But the question here is, we say we have a water pressure, a good working water pressure, say 65 to 75 psi. Again, a good working pressure, 65 to 75 psi. Anything below 65 is getting on the lower side. Anything above 75 is getting on the higher side, which on the higher side may shorten the life expectancy if the pressure is not reduced, etc. So the question is, how do I change my pressure, etc. Well, pressures sometimes are from neighborhood to neighborhood. There are so many variables in pressures. There's hills, there's pumps, there's location. So, for instance, one may get in an area and be close to an area which may or may not have lower water pressure. Ironically, sometimes the farther away you are, your pressure could be higher. For instance, in the area that I'm familiar with, it seems to be the closer you get to the water supply, the reservoir, it seems like the pressure perhaps may be a little bit lower. When one gets towards the end of the line, 10 to 15 miles down the road, it seems like the pressure gets higher. So, okay, so one thing to keep in mind here: each neighborhood has different water pressures. One can perhaps go to the box store, plumbing store, get a little gauge and screw it onto the hose pipe, open it up full blast, and get maybe, I think they call it a static water pressure reading. So anything over 75. Now, do keep in mind, sometimes that can be deceptive. Reason being is, sometimes one may have a pressure reducing valve, but branched off for the hose pipe before going into the pressure reducing valve. So one may say, well, I need a pressure reducing valve. They may already have a pressure reducing valve, except for the line going to the hose pipe, and the line going to the hose pipe may be pumping 80 to 100 psi, and the rest of the house may be bumped down to 75 because it's going through the pressure reducing valve. However, if there's no pressure reducing valve on the water spigot or the seal cock outside, then at this point that pretty much tells you what your pressure is, your incoming pressure from the street. So the question at hand here, we have an irrigation system, we have a drip line. So which particular pressure reducing valve would we use? We have two different types here. This pressure reducing valve here is used for the house. So now, and then this pressure reducing valve is used for the drip line. So this pressure reducing valve here may get you between 25 and 75 psi. Also, this pressure reducing valve here is adjustable. Simply move the screw, tighten it clockwise, and your pressure should increase, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody can add that to the comments. My inclination is that direction. Okay, this pressure reducing valve here, it gets you from, say, if we were doing 75 on the street, and then we come through, the exit pressure would be something along in the range of, say, 35 psi. So as one can see. Now, this is to keep the drip line from blowing. we would not need this on the regular sprinkler system, generally speaking. I hesitate making universal statements. So, but on this, now, if we needed this, the question is, could we need both? Absolutely. The question is, if the pressure's coming in at, say, 100 pounds off the street, one needs to get the pressure down to 75, one would need this. But still the 75, now this would drive the pop-up heads, the oscillating heads, or the rotating heads, whatever nomenclature one desires to use. So one would need this. But also one would need this to get the pressure on down to a different level. Or I guess, I've never done this, but, I'm sure this is less expensive than this, I'm thinking. So now, could one use this and use two of these? I think perhaps so, because if I'm not mistaken, you can get the pressure down in the range of 25 to psi. So, but technically speaking, if you had a lawn sprinkler system and then you had a drip line, which would be for the natural area on the lawn sprinkler system, you would need this, number one, to get the pressure down for the street, to get it down to 65, 75 psi. Then one would need to step this down to 35 and put this. And my suggestion is put a box around these, the rectangular box, so that when you're looking for it in the future, take a piece of copper or something that a metal detector can pick up. This is just a side note and a takeaway here. If you take in the box, and I don't know if I'm not a metal kind of guy, the beep, 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 beep with the little metal detector that goes around looking for coins, perhaps you can ask one of these guys. And what would be good, I don't know if copper picks up good on those, or say if a soda can picks up good, but inside of the box, perhaps just throw something in there that the metal detector would pick up. If it'll pick up on a soda can, maybe a couple crushed soda cans. That way, if you ever come back and you have mulch overlaid, or you have rocks overlaid, or the roots crawl around, and you're looking for this, then and if you have to, worst case scenario, go to the get somebody with a metal detector, it should manifest itself because of the metal in there. That's just my inclination. Now, it may pick this up in general, but this is PVC looking. I'm not sure what the active, the raw material or materials are. So anyway, this pressure reducing valve is for the street and the house. And if you have high water pressure in your neighborhood, my suggestion would be have one of these on the irrigation system, one of these underneath the house or somewhere around the house where it feeds your house, because you will shorten your life expectancy perhaps of your hot water heater, your pipes breaking, etc. So keep your water pressures good, and that will save you from calling somebody plumber and forking out $350 to $1,000. So so anyway, notwithstanding, side note, so this would be for the street or irrigation or the house. This would be for the drip line. So this will get you from, this is adjustable. I'm not certain that this is adjustable. I don't think so. And if there are irrigation gurus that could add this to the comments, perhaps they could elaborate and say, but I don't see an adjustment on here. Now, this pressure reducing valve here is adjustable. I have put so many of these in, and it's a simple adjustment, but we'll address that issue in another video. So this should get you in the range of 25 to 75, somewhere thereabouts, 65, 75 being good PSI. When you go through, this would run your regular sprinkler system in your grass. When you come to the drip line, then you're going to need something like this. Or I've never seen somebody do it, probably because brass is more expensive, etc., and copper. But one could probably put two of these, but I would say just keep it simple. Put one of these, and then it gets you down to 35 working pressure PSI on the outlet side, which drives your drip line for your lawn sprinkler system. So again, reiterate once again, pressure reducing valve for the street, for the irrigation of the house, pressure reducing valve for the drip line for the lawn sprinkler system. Essentially do the same thing. One's adjustable. I'm not certain on this one. I don't see an adjustment on here. Somebody may know something I don't. If they do, please feel free to add that to the comments. So anyway, pressure reducing valves juxtaposed so one can see one type and the other type. Thank you for watching, and hope you have a great day.